Uh, Now, the previous week, we had some classes, but they were introductory classes. They weren't really useful, whatever. Because last week we really started having the classes properly, so we no longer had. So yeah, but there are some very interesting ones. Like there's a course about traditional Chinese culture, which I find very fascinating. Of course, I only know so many things. And last time in the traditional Chinese culture class, we were taught about the different philosophies. Confucianism. I think it explains like a ton of things about like Chinese people because like what I noticed, a lot of Chinese people don't like to be very direct, for instance. And this philosophy has like, of course, like I don't know all the nuances, I don't know all the small thing, small specifics of it, but it has principles like don't be too direct if it's not appropriate. But the fact that it's actually a philosophy that exists, I think, is very interesting and helps me understand where this like culture originates from. So it's not just some like arbitrary thing; it's an actual philosophy that they have from like a long time ago. Though one thing is that the classes are all mandatory because like in my university in Finland, pretty much all classes are optional except for like a few here and there. So you don't really have to go to university a lot unless you want to, which I actually really enjoy. I think it's really cool. Like I have to go to every class, but I think it's fair enough. Like it's that way before university in Finland too. We only have class 4 days a week. On the weekend or Friday we go to like some cultural tour somewhere else. So we get to see some things, and it's not ridiculous hours. We have like a long lunch break and stuff, so it's all good, but it is different from how my university has been in Finland. So last week I went to a lot of places. I was like did a lot of things. So a lot of things I went to. For example, I went to like a park called Water Park. It's not a water park as in the word water park. It's a park that's called a water park. Uh, so it's just like really big park in Tianjin. It's huge. Like it's so massive. I don't know. I haven't seen a park this big in Finland, but it's just this huge park with like a lot of like there's like a big, I'm not just like a more of pond or a lake, but like a big pond or whatever that's like on there. There's you could also like rent out like these like pedaling boats, which we did not do, but they are there. Anyway, you have this really huge thing. You have a lot of like greenery, a lot of like lotuses, some like great spots where you can like walk on like a wooden structure above the water, and you can go to like the shore of the water. You can see the things. The views were great. It's a really beautiful park. I really loved being there. And in that park, there's also like a big zoo. So Tianjin Zoo. It's really cool. Like there's a ton of animals. It's really cheap to enter, like 30 yuan or something, which is like maybe like 4 euros ish. It's about divide that by seven, you get the amount. So it's somewhere around 4 euros to equivalent of yuan to enter this zoo, and they have like a ton of animals. From what I've read, it's like 200 plus species or something. So it's really good sort of things. One thing though is that the actual conditions were not that good for the animals. Like the uh like enclosures were not that well cleaned, for instance. They were not well maintained. They were generally not very they were not that impressive at all, and especially for some things like the biggest thing that stands out to me about it to me is that snakes, for instance, mostly had to just be on a wooden floor with like a few rocks thrown in. No branches, nothing, just a wooden floor and a few rocks. That's it. That's all they have, and a little bit of water and a little bit of food. But it's really not that impressive, and like of course, like have a ton of things. Like if you go to the Finnish zoo, there's like nothing there. But you go to, for instance, Korkeasaari, and you see the enclosures. They are way nicer than what Tianjin Zoo had. Of course, once again, it's a way smaller zoo with very few animals, but you can see a pretty clear difference in the actual quality of the enclosures in terms of like where the animals live, and that's just the difference. All the places are like this, where it's not that good in conditions, but yeah, that is something that I didn't notice while I was there. It was a great experience overall, though. I mean, it was still all the stuff we saw, and the park was really cool. We also had a TV tower. it was kind of a disappointment, to be honest. Like, it cost a lot. We paid like the highest level thing, which is like 100 yuan. The cheaper level would have been 50 yuan. And it got us like a few meters higher to like a spinning floor that spun slowly, and they gave us like a tour of some like things there. But none of it was really special. None of it was like, we should just go with the 50 yuan ticket. And even that, like, you just get to go high up and look down, which is cool. It's a high building. But the thing is, there's like, we are in Tianjin, so we are like in the capital area here. We're near Beijing and all of that. There's a lot of factories, a lot of industry. And because of that, there's smog. And because of that, when you're high up there, you still don't see very far because the smog is like blocking the view. Also, the day we were there was quite smoggy, so that did not, like, the timing we chose did not help. But overall, it was a really interesting day. We could see all the things, and I really enjoyed the park in particular. I think it was really pretty. And then the day after that, we went to Great Wall. So we actually university organized thing. We went to the Great Wall of China in Beijing. It's, I don't remember which what the place was called, but it's one. It's like, from what I get, very just the most popular like Great Wall spot, and it was great. Like, it was a rainy day somewhat, so it wasn't too populated. And it was just really beautiful. Like, we went on, like, you can go on two ways. You can go right or you can go left. When you actually go to the wall, we only had so much time to be there because it's like a 4 hour bus drive. But we turned left with the group I was with, and we went pretty much the whole way on that side that you can go because, of course, some places are not safe and they're restricted. And it was pretty incredible seeing that in person compared to like photos, because it just like, you could see it go on in the distance, and just the scale of it, like, it's this huge ass wall. You see it going forward to even place where you can't go. Like, you just see it go on so far, and you see it's like going across, like curving across this place, and it's the fact that it's in such a good condition, even after like hundreds of years, at the very least. It's a very beautiful. It was a really beautiful experience. And it's just interesting seeing that they could have built something like this so long ago. Just like, they didn't have modern technology back then. Like, the fact they could build it is insane. And one thing though that like was quite interesting is quite how like actually hard, like, not user friendly the design is. I guess they didn't have modern UX design principles back then, but like, it's very steep. Like, it's hard, even if it's not backpack, it's hard to like go up the incline. And then the stairs are like, have like one small step, and then you have one like huge step that you have to go up. And it took energy to go up there. It was quite a tiring experience, and it was fun. It was interesting, and like, it was certainly a workout. But I do wonder how, like, back then, a person in like full armor and with full like fighting equipment would have like walked up that thing or stood up there on those inclines. Like, I figure it would just like fall down. I don't know how they did it. It's impressive that somebody could actually just climb it up with like full equipment. It's such a steep incline. And also how construction people would have actually gone up. Like, people obviously had to like carry like their bricks and whatnot. So the fact they could go up those things and take those up there is also very impressive. So it's just like, I wonder how people did any of that. It was very steep, and it is one of those mysteries where, like, how do people use this thing they like properly? But clearly they did, because it was built and it's known for being there. It's very interesting. Beyond that, we also went to the Persian house. So in Tianjin, there's this house that's like, on the outside, just has full like porcelain, and it was beautiful. I mean, it's really expensive. Like, it was built like original like ages ago, like a really long time ago. I don't remember how long ago it was, but like before modern technology. And well, some part there's a car there, which probably isn't like a thousand years old. Like, I doubt that car is that old because it's more than a car, but the actual building is really old, and it's this huge, like this big building, just made out of porcelain. It was very pretty. It was very fascinating. Like, it's not something you see everywhere. I mean, it's not economically reasonable, at least not nowadays. and probably wasn't then either. The guy was just had a lot of money because like he was significant. It was a significant position, but anyway, it was very like pretty and interesting. We got to see inside the place. You could see like there are some wall decorations also of like porcelain and stuff like this. And in there, I discovered something else, which is that you know how people like donate money or like put money onto like cultural spots sometimes. They had done that. Like, there are spots with money there as well, but there's also cigarettes alongside the money. And I'm not sure what this actually signifies, but it was interesting seeing that people will actually put cigarettes, like unused cigarettes, as like donations to these things alongside just money. It was very interesting to see that also. Then we also visited IKEA. So there are IKEAs in China. It's the first, I guess, the first place I have seen a knife to eat with in China, which is interesting. But the food was pretty good. It wasn't as cheap as Chinese restaurants, of course. It's Western stuff. It's more expensive, but it was very similar to Western IKEA. Well, some of the food was like, of course, more China-like, but the meatballs which I ate were quite similar to what you would have in the Nordics, and they did have the actual furniture was quite similar to what you would have again in the Nordics, for instance, and the items they would sell. There were some like teapot stuff like this that you wouldn't find with like also like Chinese type style decoration that you definitely wouldn't find in like a Nordic China, Nordic IKEA. Sorry. Also, it's like outside of these things, out of one thing about the Nordic stuff and just like Western stuff in general is how expensive some things are. Like, if you want to buy butter, it's not really common here, and it costs a lot more than it would in Finland because it's not like a thing they locally produce. They import it from like New Zealand, from the ones I have seen, and it costs like 40 yuan for a small bag of butter. So, it's not that affordable, but it's fine. There's a lot of other things you can get for cheap money here. Like actual food stuff is so cheap. But yeah, all of the like more dairy stuff in particular is very hard to find and expensive. Also, it's like no cereal. But it's fun and like eating at restaurants is great. Like the food is like the food like who knows what's in the food, but the Chinese food tastes really good and it's really, really cheap. So that's a great experience for me. Also, getting to eat like this kind of stuff every day for like such little money is really good. But I do wish though they had more options for like an easier like snack on at home for like breakfast. Like I don't want to eat like a pre-cooked like meat thing for breakfast personally. I don't enjoy that kind of thing. So the only thing I've really figured out is just yogurt. I wish they had like cereal or something. Uh, but well, they don't. People here don't see like just like white Europeans going around a lot. So because I am a white European, um, people will like pay more attention to me, and to us in general. Like those of us who are here from Finland, and that comes across in daily life. Like if you go to like Tianjin Center, or any like populated area, what we'll see is people will like stop and take pictures of us and look at us all the time. Like we're the center of attention wherever we go. It's kind of uncomfortable to like be treated like a celebrity all the time. It feels very strange because nobody looks at me this way in Finland.